Appreciate Connor being here. Are we streamed live right now?
Yes.
On Connor Sports Talk.
So
his dad was a really good three-sport athlete at Scott County High School. Both his brothers play. Jack's pitching at Evansville right now. Andrew played football for us. Connor was supposed to be our snapper this year, and he bailed to be on Connor Sports Talk. I'd also like to recognize Cass Clay. He's done a great job for us this summer. I appreciate you, Cass. You know, I've coached for a long time. When you interact with a lot of people, various people have various different opinions on it. You know, I never paid attention to that. I think it's a relationship in the football that I still enjoy the most. You know, I see big Carter Jones there. I coached his dad, Larry, and he was a great football player. He was a center for us. And you all probably don't know, everybody in the room, that Larry, he made it way up the line in professional wrestling. Was on TV, wrestled on Impact Wrestling. It comes full circle. We got Coach Timmy's brother, Coach Red's brother. So I think the relationship end of it is what means a lot to me. I appreciate everybody being here, and I go back and I think about where football was in Scott County in 1997 when we got there compared to where it is today with the facilities at the two high schools, with the number of kids playing, and you know, it's really grown. We look forward to the ball game against Frank County. Got a great opponent. I laugh when I tell this, but it's true. They beat us so bad. They all call this thing the Franklin County Invitational because they've only lost one game, and they've beaten Great Crossing both times they played in. They've beaten us 2 out of 3. They beat us so bad when the girl that was in a mascot suit quit. She took off all the mascot and threw it down at the half. So we know what we're up against. And we know how good they are and what a great job Coach James and his staff do with their program. It'll be an uphill battle for sure. If anybody's got any questions, and you guys, I'm sure, need to introduce yourself. Red Owens and your position and that kind of stuff.
I'm Red Owens. Tight end.
One way, Red.
Coach, we talked a little bit about this last night. The maturity of this team, this is the kind of a group that's been building over the past couple of years. How is that going to benefit you this season?
A lot of it just depends, Cal, on how they approach it. We've had, I know 2 years ago, we had a pretty mature team, and I wasn't very pleased with what we had gotten done in the summer. And I thought it showed early in the season. You know, guys, and I know that everybody here, I'm just preaching to the choir, but I mean, it takes what it takes. I mean, you have to do what you have to do to win. And, if you miss practice or, you've got this or you make this excuse, you're not hustling, that stuff's always going to catch up to you. So I think the biggest thing for us is we've got to make sure that even though we're relatively mature, what's more important is, are we taking a mature approach? And I've been pretty pleased up to this point. You know, we had some guys like last night, somebody said something about the pregame music or something like that. And that doesn't win football games. It doesn't matter what's playing on the beatbox before the game. Okay? That's not where my focus is. Same old thing last night. 2 or 3 guys had to pull their knee pads down, got removed from the game. You're not committed to winning the championship if that happens to you, in my opinion. So I'll give us about a B, Cal, to answer the question. We got a B of matching our mature approach to our maturity.
For the 2 players, you guys are 4-year guys. What grade did you give yourselves, and what have you seen in the preseason to make you feel good about the beginning of this year?
I'd probably give myself a B. Better than I did last year. I'd say players lost the focus up the road outside of football, working their butts off, and then when we come into the weight room, we all work. We all have to do what we're doing.
just a little thing in maturity. You know, he kept on letting it roll. I took him out of it last year. I said, you gotta catch some line. You gotta catch some line. We're not gonna let the punch roll around on the ground. And so he's done. Rich worked hard, but Timmy is really put the work in, Cal. I mean, he is an extremely hard worker, and everything that he gets, every accolade that he gets, he deserves. Because he's a good football player, but he's a harder worker. He's one of the hardest workers that we've ever had. So I know that, but Timmy's done a great job.
Yeah, if I would say this is, I feel like it's not how we got to do last year. So that's a really this year. So maybe there's a couple of the best guys.
We had last night, 2 touchdown catches, knocked down a couple passes, sacked the quarterback. I mean, is that what we're expecting from you every day? Let's see.
Franklin County might guard. So last night they might guard.
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely want to be able to do that all throughout the game. Not like last year, I didn't hustle every play, but like this year, I don't want to come out the game offensive defensively, but I'm going to get myself in that shape where I can keep playing and play to the best of my ability and not take any plays off.
Coach, you talked about the numbers and maybe the depth to some degree last night. Is this the biggest and deepest team you've had in a few years?
We've got 107 kids out right now. That's how many dressed for the scrimmage last night. So it correlates, though. It's not like there's some magic pill. It just correlates with our school's back growing now. And so, you know, we're fortunate. We've got a great staff. I mean, you know, my oldest son, Clay, does a tremendous job. He teaches at the middle school. We dressed 43 freshmen last night. We're going to open up our freshman season. You know, our coaching staff.
You got 43 assistant coaches.
Listen, if we get beat, I'm going to be on. If we win, I'll give them all the credit. How about that? But we've got a great staff. Marvin Dancer joined our staff this year. He's been a little center. He's won a state championship in Oklahoma, state championship in Louisiana, and a state championship in Kentucky. And so he joined our staff this year. So yeah, we've got a good staff. And we've got good numbers, but you know, you can only put 11 out there at a time. But I would say, though, Cal, just to expand on that, I mean, I love Stockton High School. It's such an awesome place. It's just such idea, and we really appreciate Franklin County's been a part of it every year. They're going into our district next year, so they're not going to be able to be a part of it, but it's going to continue. It's going to be week 2. We're going to open the season in 27 with the Battle of the Birds will be the opening game of the year, and then week 2 will be the Battle of Elkhorn Creek. I believe Greg Rawson's playing Brown Station, and we're playing Johnson Central. So it's going to continue. All right, so thanks everybody. And lastly, I'll just say how proud I am to be Red and Timmy's coach. They're awesome young men, and I'm proud of them, and I'm going to push them to be the best they can be.
It's different, but the standard's the standard. You know, we want to win, we expect to be competitive. These games are about preparing ourselves for November. The RPI and that stuff's great, but at the end of it, you gotta go win football games in November if you want to be a championship program. So we're excited about it. We're not making excuses. We're gonna go play football and we're gonna get after it like we always do.
For the players, what are your thoughts on how the preseason has gone for you guys, and what are your expectations going into the next month?
So our off-season always one of the hardest off-seasons that I've ever been a part of. Always looking at the winning on the win. But especially our camp, looking at the winning the jungle, always fun for our win. My expectations are pretty high for this season. Always looking at the program in all 4 years. Knowing what it takes to play and knowing what it takes to play at a high level, especially in this season.
Also, the players, you guys have been right at that doorstep before, this program been in multiple state finals. Well, how much motivation do you get from want to kick that door down and win it all?
Yeah, that's our goal. Every year we get to our coaches that go through the division each year to reach that and to get this year to get that title. Definitely being on that doorstep. We've tried a few things in the past few years, but I definitely feel like our scout team this year has definitely been able to go out and play in this past year, students ready for games and just ready for all the big situations that we need. We basically been doing every single scout team and team. We always sort of get on this, so that the schedule study puts us in a position to win these big games that we need to win.
So we're looking forward to looking ahead to this week's game. You've seen a lot of different styles of play from you guys in the past. Each new spot has always been physical, but some years you kind of rock, and other years you kind of pick each apart from the air without tipping the hand too much with the calling card.
So we did the stats in our first scrimmage that we threw. I think it was like 23 passes and 23 runs. So that was not by design. But we want to be balanced. We feel like we've got the personnel to kind of mix it up. Last year we were probably a little pass heavy than I really like to be, but had a senior lady group of receivers. So it kind of depends on the personnel. We're going to be very versatile this year. Our thing is we're going to be able to get 3 yards or just 3 yards if you got it. So, we're going to plan that. We're going to try to be physical in those moments. But we're going to limit our personnel. We've got a quarterback that's played 2 state championship games. You've got some guys that can run it, that are stepping into the role.
We've got some receivers we're excited about. The thing we didn't have last year, we've got some more personnel, big bodies, tight ends, and fullbacks. It's going to let us expand. We'll be offensively, but we're still kind of figuring that out. It's early. We're scrimmage a little bit down last night. We got a little bit of medicine, so we're figuring it out. We're going back to the drawing board a little bit, but we'll be ready for it.
You guys have never backed out and put out a very season, one season. You go play. Let's say what you do. Mistakes, brothers, class. What is a young team or youngish team refer to?
There's moments in there. We want this to be very effort. No matter who you're playing or the situation, those things are always happening. Those are things we control. We talked to our guys about that. Talked about earlier, you mentioned the championship game. We don't really talk about this. We talk about their effort, their attitude, the way they approach every single day. That's what we push them to do. If Knox can be a better version of himself every day, by November, he's going to be the best version that he can be as a team. Xander's been great. He's handled with that for 4 years. Xander started for us, and he's better today than he was yesterday. Chris is a kid that he's worked his tail off. He's not always winning his way, but he's becoming alpha male football. If he's in the front of every two, you got to throw him out. He's creating the best version of himself. So when you do that, and you face these big moments, we kind of create that. We talk about training on mental capacity just as much as we do on physical capacity. So giving these guys hard intensity is going to be a big thing this year.
Coming back to players, I heard you say you got at 4 a.m. for summer camp. Can you talk about the investment that you guys, did you get 100% participation at that hour, or what was that like?
I'm going to be honest, some of our best practices from that camp came from those 4 a.m. practices. We were there, we have no phones, we were sitting there together.
Sundays at 2 o'clock. This year we changed that. We played last night, got back from Cooper at whatever, 11:30. I got home, watched film, got up at 5 a.m., watched it again, and I got up to there at 9 a.m. and watched film. So, we had to look at things to make sure that we're staying in control of our players and our team, our program, and everybody that's involved with that.
For the players again, your coaches a lot talk about coach-led teams and player-led teams, and player-led teams, and all of those things really players. How do you see this being a player-led team, not just you guys, but you see other guys stepping up around you to provide that?
Yeah, we got a lot of leadership, it's just not many players. There's the sophomore, that like to lead the way as well. There's a lot that goes into it, it's not just us. It's a whole team mentality, everybody's got to lead each other.
I would just agree with that. Like you said, we got a bunch of sophomores and juniors that all step up every day, come prepared and just ready to go.
We have 10 seniors. That's what we have this season. And so those 10 seniors, we're going to get every ounce out of them. And sometimes with a smaller senior group, it's a little bit of a tighter group as well. And so this group of seniors have done a really good job, again, in the off season, summer approach, summer camp, all of those things to kind of lead that pack. And then you've got Grant Rocks, Hudson Rogers, Ethan Gant, who's a senior. Some of these sophomores, Owen Tierney, never missed a day, multi-sport athlete. Those guys knew that they were going to be needed very, very quickly, and they took the off-season approach every single day to be ready for these moments that are about to happen. We're going to play a good GRC team. Coach Damer's done a great job since he's been there. We've watched the scrimmages on them. They've got a great system. I know their defensive coordinator really well, so it'll be a good homecoming for him Friday night, and we're looking forward to that for sure.
Coach, talk a little bit about Grant Rock's development, because we've heard a lot about it in the offseason and saw some of it against Henry Clay, certainly, and you've got what looks like some playmakers and the ability to spread it around. How is that going to just make you guys a more diverse, explosive?
It's the short quarterback syndrome, man. You play with a chip on your shoulder. I've done that.
I've
done that. No, Grant is phenomenal. The biggest thing for him is his football IQ is to the roof. He's put in so much work doing the QB reign and all that stuff, but also just working with me, working with Coach Kirkland, who played at U-Pike. Coach Kirkland's done a phenomenal job, not just with Grant, but all of our quarterbacks and developing them. Obviously, last year was a big position that we didn't really know what it looked like, honestly, until about week 3, week 4. And then Grant took over the reins due to injuries and whatnot. And he took his sophomore slumps, and he's a great, he's great at just moving on to the next thing. He had some things last night. He missed a few throws, and he kind of has that bad body language. I pull him to the side, like, hey, you can't make every single throw. You want to, I know, but hey, you got to play the next play. Receiver drops the ball. Hey, you got to throw it to him again. It's fine. Just move on, next play. And he's done a really good job. His maturity, the leadership role that comes with playing quarterback, he's growing into that, and he's going to do a really, really good job for us. And obviously we'll utilize him as best of his abilities.
You've had a Haas in that backfield for the past couple of years. Is it going to be more of a by-committee thing this year? How is a more mature offensive line going to help in that respect?
Oh, it helps tremendously. Obviously, Carter, Ethan Gant, the anchors of that. We've taken 2 juniors who, have really, really developed. They've had a great offseason, great summer, and they've got some really good looks with Henry Clay, some of the stuff that they gave us, and they last night. They're traditionally a great defense that flies around, gives you some odd looks. And I feel like our O-line did a really good job of picking that up at this point of the season, right? And so, yes, Luke Ballard's doing phenomenal at Army right now. I talked to him just recently. I told him happy birthday. He's loving it. And it was the first time he literally in a text message said, "Yes, sir." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're in the military, son." But no, Luke obviously is a guy that you miss. But we've got 4 guys. I'll say we have 4 dogs. They're all in the backfield. Coach Morris does a phenomenal job of setting that standard in the backfield. Obviously at the end of the season, we're like, how do we replace this? And Braylon didn't play offense last year, and he's stepped up and is doing a great job. He gives us, a certain look out of the backfield. Joel Johnson, who's a 4-5 kid, we were able to put him back and do some different things with him. We've got a couple other guys that are really stepping up, and they're going to be great additions to the backfield as well.
Braylon, how much are you looking forward to that challenge?
I'm really proud of the way that we grew up. We were really young about showing entrepreneur communities, and we took that and we kind of learned from it. And having an national varsity kind of grow into this season, it's really helped us a lot. I'm most proud of the guards. They really stepped up for us this year. We got Preston and Ethan Grant on tackle. But our interior, I'm really proud of our interior. They really stepped up for us throughout the summer. I was the biggest concern, I think, for everybody. But losing our 2 guards last year, coming this season, I'm really proud of the guards. They really stepped up.
Probably you don't think home is that crazy schedule that some of them how do you think that's going to benefit you guys in the long run? It might take some long season.
I mean, schedule. It's like every coach here. You want to be the best, you got to play the best, be the best. Whatever. Schedule is the schedule. I think this week is the top 25. Really makes that whatever. Right now, the only thing that matters is the OC. We want to go to the start the season off right. Something we're doing is good for this team to have early, and I think that's good motivation for this team. The youngsters who are playing, veterans who are playing, it's really well. Now we just got to switch that into the OC if we're right there, and we're going to go deep down, and then we'll worry about the next point. Thank you.
Coach, just your thoughts on your year 1 at GOC and preseason 1, how it's going, and really look at what the program is.
I mean, it's all good. It's been fun. I think last year, we had 46 kids on the roster. Last year, we did the first of 90. So I think that's athletics and all been important. We're doing strong and some more football and all that later. So that's all about. And then just drop it what they're asking them to do. So
somewhat of a homecoming for you with coaching Georgetown. What's that going to be like?
that was so long ago. No, it's special. We live in Georgetown. We moved up to Virginia, came back to Kentucky. We went to settle in Georgetown.
We're excited with where we're at. We understand the challenge, and we know it's coming up, so don't think about that. I think we're going to talk about how we share. We got that well. I think team for team, I would say we're definitely in the top districts and definitely 600. So with Douglas and Bluegrass and Central Point, I got what they're playing on. And the crowd strategy is athletic. You know, so we got to work that out. You know, we can do it too. So we're looking forward to this one Friday night. I know these kids are excited about it. They're really clear what happens.
Yeah, for the players, now the numbers have changed. What else is new and different about the team you see this year that you're excited about?
Yes, so like you said, or like Coach David said, we had a lot of people come out that were playing last year. We had a lot of people quit after our freshman year that came back, and so we got some new seniors, and they haven't played in a while, but they got to step up and lead. Even for myself specifically, I changed position on both sides of the ball. I played tackle and linebacker last year. So I just gotta find a place where I fit in and find my role. I played almost every snap of the Sky County game last year. Just figuring out what I fit in.
I think the numbers we almost had 10 seniors, I want to say last year, now we're almost at 30, so the numbers became statistic. I think the reason for that is how we feel welcome. Now the coach coming in, we 7 us as a team, and he's making us feel welcome, and people want to play because they want that. So I think the numbers change to change the program.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of trying to get and change what's been going on. I don't think any high school coach is really excited about starting first year seniors because you want to try to build from from the ground level up. But we've got some good athletes there that have a chance to play with that, and we got to put them in that position to do that. I think we're 26 seniors and 26 freshmen, and then the numbers in between have fallen off a little bit. So we're still accepting applications for any young kids that want to come out and play. We're trying to build it. We're trying to build it from the ground roots. But I think that there's two really good things about having just one high school in county. All the funds go towards us, but also the thing that hurts us, we just got one middle school. The coach, both coaches here, you've got quite a few middle school that are feeding into that school. We got one middle school. And so we got to get to the point where we're weeding out in 6th and 7th grade. We should be getting 58 graders every year, but right now we're not because the numbers at the middle school need to continue to grow. It's a work in progress for the side.
The players, Coach mentioned the athletic tradition of GRC and obviously state championship for both basketball teams. How excited are you to maybe as seniors build a foundation to get football where it's supposed to be doing that?
Well, football starts the year every year for school, so we have tests coming up for the year, and I'm really excited to go out and play, really good schedule, and hopefully we can start to reach fall and have it behind us and make sure it's on the way.
I agree with Trey. It was a blast when both state championship games this year for the boys and girls, and like Trey said, we start off the year for athletics, and when we win, you see a lot of the town rally around the school and voting down. It falls off. So just keeping in mind that there are people that care about football and care about us and just building that. And I think it'll lead to success in the program future, but also other athletics.
I would go on getting my Scotty here for a minute. I would just like to try to have a chance to make some playoffs so I could go to a state playoff game and see Scotty with his shirt on. Instead of having his shirt off like we would all basketball game. Another thing you talk about Georgetown. His dad was my center. Scotty's dad was my center on the national championship team in '91. And then Trey's dad was a tight end on our '93 team. So I believe I threw a touchdown to to trace that, and so Jim was talking about, you know, just the experience of being a coach and not only coach, but play, the people that you get to know, and, you know, just expanding our past starts with things that come along like that.
That being said, you two guys, how much did you know about coach before you even met him in the context of being coach?
I have seen the film from the national championship game a couple of times. So I know him in that aspect. And then when he got the job at Paris, my dad talked highly of him, and we talked about how he had raised a lot of funds for that program and turned it around. And when the job opened up here, he told me he was talking to him quite a bit, and that he was hoping that he'd come to the BRC, and I'm glad that he did.
Well, it's not enough for all I can say there. I heard that he's a quarterback, I was back to him, and had a couple turnovers in the national game that we pulled through. So that's a he's a great guy and a good quarterback, and we're excited to have him.
What are your dad's names?
My dad's name is Scott Bishop.
Kenny Davis.
Does Coach talk about those national championship days, or does that never come up?
He's pretty humble about it. I don't really hear much less.
He says he's not allowed to talk.
I don't think he is. It's good to ask him for him to talk about it. But other than that, I mean, he's pretty humble about it. And we'll go back and ask him if you're the players on it. So, yeah, let your players on it. And I think the most important thing, you know, we all have great experiences. You know, we did play the center, and you know, we have a good career. And, I'm very proud of the career that I was fortunate enough to have, you know, after in college. But all that did was open up the avenues that we got right now. And if I define myself by what happened in 1991, I got a pretty shallow life. And very, very excited about that. And I like to give, you know, my defensive coordinator, you know, BGO, with Rick, I like to give him a hard time about it. He continually likes to tell me that, you know, he's 3-time All-American at Georgetown College, and when he really cares how many college championships did he win. And his answer was 0, so I got him shut up. just to keep him humble. But I think it's just all about the journey. Told my wife that we're going to do a whole lot of coach speak here. But, you know, with the program, you know, the coach that he has, and you know, the coach James has, their ceiling is the same ceiling that Ricky and I have at our program. The ceiling's the state championship, that never changes. But what we're trying to do is raise the floor. You know, right now the floor is not very high, but as long as you continue to raise that floor, you know, you got a chance to get closer to the ceiling. I know that's as classic as a coach speak as you can get. We've got to raise that to where, you know, 0-10 is not full. So that's definitely what we're trying to get, and I like where we're at. You know, we got 10 1-week seasons, you know, and you never know what's going to happen in the life of a 17-year-old kid on a Tuesday. You know, so if I'm going to worry about what's going to happen 5 weeks from now, I'm going to live a miserable life. You know, because today's going to have trouble. It's all I tell our kids all the time about, you know, losing life here. You know, seeing them sitting there and off 50, you bust him on the head. What can you do about that? Nothing. It's in the past. Can't do anything about it. You know, so we're just not a vision on. I'm gonna try to get through the day. You know, I'm gonna call my son and check on my son. He's running back coach at Morehead State. 22-year-old running back coach at Morehead State. We're pretty excited about that. So I'm gonna call and check on him. I'm gonna call and check on my mom. You know, and then enjoy the day with my wife. And then we're gonna start worrying about what's coming this Friday. Let's get through all.
Yeah, our coaches there talk about going 1-0. What would GRC have to do to go 1-0?
I mean, we got to not turn the ball over, we got to tackle, we got to do all that. But, you know, like I said, every football practice is like a little 21st day. You know what you're going to get. Somebody had a bad day at school. You know, now you got to talk that kid off the ledge. You know, then when you're dealing with freshmen, because we're coaching everybody at one staff. You know, I got a great staff, I've got 12, 13 coaches, we're coaching everybody at one time. Because in order for us to keep our freshman numbers down, as these guys will tell you, they've got to see that the varsity staff is investing in them.
So we're having our defensive aspect of practice, our varsity, our offensive coach, our depth coach, and our freshman. So who knows what's going to happen in the school. So when they show up, we start watching film Monday. We'll roll the dice and see what happens, and we'll all go home, go to bed, and we'll be able to get on Tuesday. And it's going to be another day. We got to get to know each other again. Thank you, guys.